Good evening, everyone. This evening, I would like for us to have a reflection on our finances in a very unique and unbiased way. First and foremost, we have egos, we have pride about our finances. We like to quote unquote use the term keep up with the Joneses. But keeping up with the Joneses has never made anyone rich. It's a fallacy. It's a falsehood. It's a fantasy. It's a mirage. Meaning that it's all fake. Trying to keep up with those that may live in your community, that may operate in your circles. You're trying to keep up with them as far as the materialistic things that they have. You're not getting richer, you're getting poorer. Now, in the Black community, we always are talking about the power of a dollar and what is our purchasing power, what is our spending power. We've been talking about, oh, Black American, we got the spending power of $1.4 trillion. But what are we doing with that $1.4 trillion? First and foremost. And secondly, when we talk about spending power, family, we start talking about purchasing power. That also includes debt, meaning credit, because credit is only debt. Because once you spend somebody else's money versus a credit card, personal loan, etc., that is now considered debt. So when we look at these things, we must first define purchasing power, the financial ability to buy products and services, the value of a sum of money. That's what purchasing power on a very basic level is, the ability to buy products and services. So that 1.4 trillion in the Black community also includes credit, which equals debt, right? So just as a play on words, as we see here, is spending and purchasing power the same thing? While these elements are related, they are not the same. Consumer buying power refers to how much money a consumer has to spend, while consumer purchasing power refers to how far that money will go. Okay? Very, very self-explanatory. So since Black Americans are the largest consumers in America, if not the world, as Black Americans, the amount of billions of dollars that we pump into the economy, what are companies doing with this money? That's a question you may want to ask yourself, because shouldn't you be investing like other neighborhoods, like the Asian neighborhoods and the Jewish neighborhoods, where you hear this term, their dollars circulate 11, 12 times because they essentially buy and spend with their own economies? But when you buy with these large companies, are they targeting you? Of course they are. But are they investing back into Black neighborhoods like those Asian and Jewish neighborhoods? Are they doing that? See, you don't see them living in squalor. You don't see them living in poverty because they spend their money with their own. The 300 billion Black American consumerism bag breeds big business opportunity. You are targeted to. They know where the money is. They know you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're trying to stay on fleek. You're trying to make everything look good. You want the Balenciagos. You want the new Louis Vuitton. You want the new Chanel. You want the new whatever. Even glasses. Everything has to be designer. Everything has to be very, very expensive. And again, we're talking about a people who are only about 14 to 15% of the population, spending more money than the majority of the population per capita, dealing in the percentages. It states here, despite being, I'm just going to go with 15%. Our numbers are still not 13.4% in the past 10 years. Okay. But anyway, despite being 15% of the US population, Black households account for just under 10% of the nation's total spending on goods and services in 2019. That's mostly dealing with the pandemic. However, if companies interpret this data as proof that there's little profit in serving Black consumers, they're making a multi-billion mistake, right? They're teaching these companies cater to Black people when it comes to products and services, because they're going to be your big spenders, right? Black households total approximately 835 billion, and combined spending by all Black households has increased 5% annually over the past 2 decades. Good afternoon, Jermaine, as well as DL. Okay, let's move on. We're not going to read too much here. Our research shows that Black consumer choices have a cool factor that has created a halo effect of influencing not just consumers of color. I hate that term, but they're talking about non-Black people, but the mainstream as well. See, let me just decode this very quickly. When they say not just consumers of color, they're talking about non-black people, excluding white. And then they say, but the mainstream as well, they're talking about white people. That's the mainstream, white people, right? And they say, according to the company's ratings, Black buying prowess, Black consumers have a major influence on spending with luxury items like watches. Black people account for 60 million of the 385 million in overall spending. Family, that's almost third of the millions of dollars that people are spending on watches. As for women fragrances, they represent 151 million of 679 million industrial. I mean, I could break that down, but it's going to take some time. But family, what I'm talking about, we're spending way more than any other group, than any other class. It states here as well, years of underinvestment by the private sector have left some Black communities with a dearth of retail options and key services. What they're saying is they're going to target and cater to Black people. They have already been doing this, by the way. Okay, I'm not the obvious nonetheless. But what I'm saying, these are the reports that they're writing, that there's still money on the table that Black people can spend when we are the brokest group in America. We're the groups with the highest homeless numbers. We're the groups with the highest rate of poverty. We're the highest group that live in the ghettos and the slums and living in squalor. We have the highest percentage, but yet we're spending the most money. Something doesn't make sense here, family. Something does not make sense. Or rather, it makes perfect sense. You're spending the most, thus you have the less. That makes sense. Yes, we can factor in white supremacy, racial bias, discrimination. Yeah, go ahead and throw it on the table. But there's no reason why we should be the poorest group spending the most money per our capita and per our percentage. There should be no way we're the brokest group when we're spending the most fucking money and the poorest group. That makes no goddamn sense. Where do we spend our money at, family? Well, let's just look at some of the richest countries in the world. Let's start off with the big uno numero, consumer goods and retail. Who's leading the pack at $684 billion? That's right, Amazon. We all have it. We all have Prime. And anytime you need something, Amazon is there in 2 days or less. Now, who's next? Now, you may not be familiar with this group. This is Alibaba. They are the Chinese Amazon. So there's no comparison. There's no comparison. You know why? Because Amazon for the US is up $5 billion, $4 billion from Alibaba. Then we have Nike. We know everybody got to get their Nike shoes on. Got Louis Vuitton. We have Home Depot. That goes without saying. Walmart. These are the large brands that people are buying billions worth of dollars in clothing and goods and retail. Chanel, L'Oreal, Gucci. Who else we have on here? Adidas. This is where your money is going. And ask yourself, are these companies pumping money back into the Black community? Let me help you. Hell no. That is why the Jewish and the Asians are doing a lot better than us, because they spend money with their own. They let their dollar circulate. None of these companies are going to give back the billions of dollars that you spent with them. That's why group economic is very, very important. Let's move on. Business solutions and tech providers, NVIDIA, IBM, Adobe, and Intel. I don't even really need to talk about that because, unfortunately, as a group, we don't spend most of our time in the tech world in business, but we should. But we sure good with consuming goods and retail, are we not? But here's a special sector: media and entertainment. If we're not spending money, we're watching other people spend it with reality and ratchet shows. Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to watch HBO and Netflix, and you get what I'm saying. Google, $458 billion. Some of you say, well, Google, I don't really buy nothing from Google. No, no, no. You're on Google all the time. You're on Google right now. Google owns YouTube. Google owns also the navigator app Waze. So you're using Google in many ways. There's many other ways you're probably using Google, but I don't have the list in front of me. Tencent, that's the Chinese version, and Facebook. So you're mostly on 3 or 4 of these that are top 4. You're mostly on Instagram at $83 billion that you guys are spending on Instagram, or at least watching Instagram. Then you have Facebook at $227 billion. And then number 1 is Google at $458 billion. Then you have others like Netflix. Look, you do more Instagram than Netflix. Netflix, Disney. Oh, they do have YouTube down here. They separated. Okay. But Google is a conglomerate of different businesses. That's why I said that. Then you have TikTok. That's when you're spending your time. That's where it goes, family. We do not operate in a community where we're spending with our own. Yeah, a lot of times we don't have these all-inclusive communities where there's Black people plus Black businesses. But tell me the last time that you boycotted or did a silent protest for those non-Black shops in your neighborhood. Tell me when you did that. You just have to go to the hair salon. You just have to go to the corner store. You just have to go to the carryout. You just have to go to the convenience store in your area. But you're spending your dollars with people who's not going to put money back in your community. You think all the Asians in the Black community are going to pump dollars back into the Black community? Hell no. They're going to spend their money with their people. See, they tell us what they're going to do. They tell us what they're doing, and we are not looking at them and saying, you know what? Why don't I find me a Black store to spend my money with? Why don't I do that? Oh, this is convenient. I don't feel like walking over here, driving over there just because they Black. I'm going to buy it anywhere. But the question is, why don't the Asians buy from you? They take their money back to their neighborhood and communities and spend with their own people, thus making their neighborhoods rich and also their people. But that's not what we're doing here, family. We mostly operate with media and entertainment, and these are the people who you are giving your money to. They're not taking your money. So the answer to the question is, should these companies give you money back? Should these companies support your communities? The answer is hell no. They should not. You freely buy products and service to them, and now you think they should give you money back? I don't think so. You get what you pay for. If you went on Amazon and you wanted a box of pencils, then Amazon's going to send you a box of pencils. Well, Amazon, over the past 5 years, I spent $3 million buying boxes of pencils. It's probably a good thing and a good public relations to give money back to the community. And Amazon like, wait a minute, you bought pencils from us and now you want us to give us money back? That makes no financial sense. But you know what? Because of social pressures, what we'll do is we'll start a campaign and make sure it's public, because nothing really goes over well private, but make sure it's public so everybody knows we gave a little bit of money back to the Black community. So when you think about Amazon, you think about Amazon as a company for the Black community. And let me just state this. I am not saying Amazon is not the Black community, but I'm just saying follow the money. Apple, a lot of you have Apple watches and a lot of you have Apple phones. When have you seen Apple in your neighborhood building up those projects, building up those Section 8s? When have you seen that? When have you seen, what about this, family? This is crazy to me, right? During this whole pandemic slash protesting time for all the different disparities and injustices that we receive as a people, did you know that none of these companies on this piece of paper right here, fixed Flint, Michigan's water problem? And by the way, family, Flint is not the only city that has a water problem that's a black community, by the way. But see, that's what I don't understand. They pander to you and use symbolism stating, we're going to do these things. No, how about fix Flint's, excuse me, I always mess this up. How about you fix Flint's, Michigan water issue? What about that? So next we have Huawei, Samsung, some other, but we understand these large companies you see in this circle with Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, and Google, Facebook, Instagram, etc., Chanel, Nike, Louis Vuitton, and Walmart, they're mostly in impoverished areas. So why have you seen an increase of companies rebuilding the communities that is essentially doing large businesses? Because they don't have to. You give your money to these companies. So it's probably better to spend money with people that look like you within your community. Or in some cases, you have to go out and maybe you have to help another black community. But that's not what we're doing. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're trying to keep up with the parents. We're trying to mirror mainstream America. What other companies? Now, these are the top brands, which you just saw the world's top organizations. But some of these you're familiar with that we don't have to beat you in the head about. And of course, you always got to throw the Fortune 500 list in there because it's going to have the companies that you guys are spending the most money with. Walmart, Amazon, Apple. Alphabet is also known as Google. But those are some of the top companies that you're spending your money with. So again, family, this is where your money goes. Should they invest it back into the black community? Should they give back? Do they have a moral and ethical obligation to do so? Absolutely not. So if you don't feel like walking an extra block, driving an extra mile to support people that look like you, then when you look around your neighborhoods and you see non-melanated people selling you goods, then you have your answer. You want to complain about other groups in your communities? You want to complain about other businesses in your communities? You want to complain about people not investing in our neighborhoods? Because those very same people who are selling to you those products and services, they're taking your money back to their neighborhood communities and families and spending it with them. And that's why their communities look better. That's why their communities are doing better. And this is not anti-Asian. This is not anti-Jewish. This is not anti-anything. This is pro-spending with your particular group that can upgrade your lifestyle and your community. That is what this is about. Because some people may take my intent and my words totally out of context. It's not about that. It's about us mirroring the rest of what everybody's doing. Because everybody, oh man, we shouldn't be following them. We should be, I'm saying, no, sometimes you can learn from other people. See, I respect what the Asians are doing. I respect what the Indians are doing. I respect what the Jewish people are doing. I respect that. And that is something that we should model. Make your money wherever you make it. But when it comes time to spend your money, go to grocery stores that the group of people look like you own. That's what they do, family. They get into these little conclaves. They get into these little sectors where they kind of box themselves off. There's a couple of neighborhoods in Texas where majority of the population are Indians. I'm not mad at them. They moved inside that neighborhood and they started to buy up the property for convenience stores, grocery stores, and restaurants in order to control their own economics. And everybody comes to those areas, to their restaurants. We can learn from that. What am I stating? If you stop spending with other groups and you support your own, those non-melanated stores and businesses in your neighborhood will go away. They will not stay in a place where they're not making money. They will go away. This is the opportunity for you and like-minded others to go in and buy that piece of property. And if they try to overcharge you, just wait. Just wait. Because eventually they'll come down and buy the property and open up something that the neighborhood needs. I'm just talking, family. DL, they know we are programmed because they programmed us to be materialistic. Yes, they have. Politics without economic is power begging. I can't agree more. They actually hate us for being so stupid and spending with them. That's probably why they hate us to a certain degree. I will buy my products from a brother peddling on the street before I go in another racist store, but the police run them off. A sister in NYC was giving away fruit and they threw it away on camera. Well, welcome to America. Well, family, I just want to kind of you think on the economics here. I know I threw a lot of race-based economics, how we should probably look at things. But this really think about the economics. If you're tired of people taking advantage of you, especially other people, I'd rather my own people take advantage of me than somebody else. At least they get the benefit of the doubt, if that makes any sense. But if you're getting tired being looked down on when you go to the store to buy something you may need, if you're tired of people treating you in a particular manner while handling your food, then you might want to stop what you've been doing for years and supporting those businesses in your neighborhood of the people who are non-melanated, who don't give two shits about your condition. The only thing they care about is the products they have and the money you're going to give them to acquire them. So think about that. I know myself, when I think about certain products, I go online and I try to buy with my own. Because hopefully they're doing the right thing by the dollar. But guess what? Who really cares what they do with the money? I've been giving my money away to non-Black business all my life. So now it's probably even a thing that I'm at least buying with my own. Because that's what people say. What are they going to do with the money, though? They're going to give it back to the Black community? It's bigger than that, family. I'd rather give it to them where they're being paid. They take that money and they invest into another store, or they're paying their workers and those workers are spending. See, that's the whole thing, how things work. If I were to only spend my money with Black people, say, well, I make money in white America, I bring those white American dollars to a Black product or a Black service, right? I go to a Black owned grocery store. That Black owned grocery store is now going to take the money, those white dollars that I made in white America, and bringing them back to the Black community and pay his Black workers. And those Black workers, if they wash, rinse, repeat what I did, then dollars in the Black community will circle far more times than it is now. But we don't think about that. We don't think about the bigger picture. We're thinking about the small picture. This is how you build power. And people do not understand power. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, there was a survey done, there was a report done that if majority of Black people was in middle or middle high class, they believe through statistics that incarceration of Black men and women would decrease. I forgot the exact legal terminology, but basically Black men and women being killed and being unarmed, that would decrease. Because guess what, family? They understand that you'll be taking the city, the counties to court. The problem is now we don't have any economic power. We don't have any economic foundation in order to take nobody to court. We have to get your Benjamin Crumps and people who are going to basically lure over the court case like they're a heaving wolf and they smell blood. We have to get those type of lawyers. But what if you can get any lawyer you wanted? And even with that, you had the money and you got a black lawyer. And our black lawyer has a black family and he shops at black stores. Again, we go full circle when we're talking about group economics. See, a lot of times when people speak emphatically and strong and black, if you put all that together, you're speaking directly to your people and what they should do. Some people will say, man, you sound kind of racist. You sound kind of prejudiced. Not at all. I am just telling my people the methods that other groups are doing and have been doing for quite some time. We're talking about 100 years, if not more, especially in America. With that being said, I see one more note here. Okay. You guys have a great and wonderful evening and happy Thursday to you. But the next time you buy something, how about just thinking black and then we can start buying it? I'm out.